Hey, let's do a show today. Kratz, we don't ask you about this a lot, but I will throw this out there. High school baseball update.
High school baseball update? We got waffled last night, so I appreciate you asking now. So, no, it's okay. We played a good team, kind of kicked the ball around a little bit, but we're winding up the end of the season. We're going to be the number one ranked team in the district. So it's our district to win and then move on to states. But next week starts districts.
Is this your second consecutive year or three now of coaching? 3 years of high school coaching. Is this the most success you've had? I know you don't want to say like, oh, these are my favorite, because then the guys from 3 years ago will get jealous. But is this the most talented team or the best record you've put together so far?
No, the best record was 3 years ago, the first year. I had a Rookie of the Year coaching award. Yeah, we were like, I think we only lost 3 games all season. We made it to the semifinals of states and absolutely blew it. But that's okay.
What have you learned?
I learned that coaching kids of all different ability levels, I need to make sure I start at step A, because as a big leaguer, being around the game, minor leagues, all that stuff, you're on step C sometimes, and dudes are just like, what's an infield fly rule? And you're like, got to go back over that, because sometimes even big league umpires screw that up.
That's true. There's a lot of rules in baseball.
There are. But if you just watch and pay
hard.
attention, usually you can figure out.
But there's little things that happen sometimes where you, I do. I watch and I'm like, wait, what's the rule for that again?
Yeah, there's experience.
We had a play the other day. Guy stepped off the mound, stepped off the rubber, tried to backpick our runner at first, threw the ball away. That's high school baseball. Ball gets thrown away. Goes out of play. Just misses the fence, goes out of play. We should win on a walk-off because it was first and second. They were trying to get the runner at first sleeping. The umpire in the field said he didn't step off the back of the rubber. The umpire behind home plate said he did step off the back of the rubber, but the rule isn't that if you step off the back of the rubber and the ball gets thrown out of play, that it's 2 bases. So the one guy missed the play, the other guy didn't know the rules. So that's what you're dealing with.
And then you say, hey, I played Major League Baseball. Let me tell you how it really is. You can't throw that out there.
But it's only 1 base if the ball goes out of play from the field. So how would you have won on a walk-off? I don't understand.
No, if you step back off the mound, you become a fielder. If you step off the rubber, back off the back of the rubber, you establish yourself as a fielder, and it's 2 bases.
But if you throw it away, if you're the shortstop, you throw it away, that's 1 base. It's always 1 base. You don't get 2 bases.
No, it's 2 bases. You get from home to second. It's always 2 bases. It's where the runner is. It's where the runner is when you throw the ball.
Wait, so
I'll take your word on that one, but I mean, I've seen it in the big leagues. They throw a ball away, and the guy goes from first to second. I mean,
where does he throw it? Where does he throw it from? Because he's between home and first, so he hasn't made it to first base yet. If the infielder, let's say the play goes, shortstop bobbles it, runner first base, runner busts it through the line, gets to first, and something weird happens, and the shortstop's like, oh, I'm still going to get it. He's already touched first. He throws it into the stands. Runner goes to third. You always get 2 bases, except for the pitcher throwing from the rubber, like a pickoff where he's not declared a fielder.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're between first and second, then you get third. So that's second,
that's 2 bases.
third.
It's 2 bases.
Okay.
You could look at, I get what you're saying. You could look at it as he's going to second, he's getting second, now he gets third, he gets 1 more base. Is that what you mean?
But I don't know. I don't know that I'll take your word for it. I don't think we're talking the same thing, but that's fine.
All right. Well, let's get into
Anyways, my kid's in the state semifinals. That's all I care about.
Good.
That's so sick. Are they playing at Fort Myers?
Yeah, they play at the Twin Stadium next week, so when I'm not here next week, you'll know why.
That's so sick.
Early next week, right?
They play Tuesday semis, hopefully Wednesday finals.
If they win Tuesday, they play Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yep.
And full disclosure, I love my team, But a small school in Florida versus a small school in Pennsylvania, not the same.
Unfair advantage. NIL.
No, just
All of
different.
those
Just not the
players.
same.
All of those players make millions.
No. But let's see, our starting outfield will be is D1, our catcher, shortstop, 3 pitchers, first. So we're going to have about 10 kids that end up probably signing at Division I schools.
That's good
On this team, which is good.
That's really impressive.
Your whole team needs to be on hot sheet.
There's a couple kids that are going, like our center fielder is going to JUCO, but he's going there for the draft. Our third baseman's going to JUCO. He could play Division I. Second baseman's
stacked.
Yeah, it's a pretty good team.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We got 2 tough games.
Obviously,
hopefully it works.
There's other stacked teams in Florida. So
yeah, the team we would have to play if we win on Tuesday and they win is called Trinity Christian. They're from Jacksonville. They're like top 10 team in the country.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's
not
fun,
easy.
Though. I will say this last thing because I saw AJ's son Austin yesterday. I hadn't seen him in a minute. He's got big.
Yeah, he's
lifting.
He had a good. Yeah. He had
like, dude, you're getting buff. I like it.
Yeah, he's like 210, probably 215. Yeah, he's started growing, and yeah, he had a good. We had the awards last night. He had a good night last night, so it was good.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's gonna bop some homers in college. All right, let's charge.
Charging the mound.
Paul Skenes just announced that he is going to pitch for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. We're looking right now at his Instagram with a cool video saying Team USA on the screen, and then it superimposed the uniform on his body, which will be hopefully a more successful team than the one that he's currently on. But anyway, I was surprised when I saw this. He makes this announcement pretty early. It's a guy who has not gotten paid yet, and we haven't seen this much from young top-level starters playing for Team USA. I think this is pretty cool, at least for now. Your thoughts?
It is cool for now, but there's such a long way to go to get Skenes on this team. I mean, this thing isn't until March. So all it takes is a little tweak anywhere during the season, and the Pirates are going to say no. That's why the Japan League has kind of an advantage because they let their guys do this, and they build up for like months for this. I mean, they build up and build up and build up, whereas USA goes to their spring training and they have like a week together, and then they're like, let's go play. And a lot of the times as Americans, we don't get our best pitchers because teams are so scared to let their best pitchers go.
And it's up to generally...
It's up to the team ultimately. The team can say no.
Generally, obviously the owner has say, but also the GM/president of baseball ops, whoever's in charge of the front office has say. Newsflash, Kratz, that might be someone else for the Pirates. Ben Cherington might not make it 10 more months with this team. It's real. I'm serious. It's year 6. They suck. He might not make it through. Derek Shelton being canned was just phase 1. When you do it early in a season, if this team ends up terrible, then they're probably going to reevaluate the front office and make a move like that too. Just throwing disclaimers out there. Someone else might come in and be like, yeah, Paul, that was the old front office. It's like what they told Rafi Devers when he signed his big contract. Yeah, that was your agreement with Bloom. I'm Breslau.
But you have, as a team, especially a team like the Pirates, you have for Paul, before this, he had about 3 opportunities. They had about 3 opportunities to make this man think, I want to stay in Pittsburgh. And it's the first year, second year, and third year of arbitration. That is the only way you can really, get some goodwill with Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes comes to you and says, I want to play for Team USA because I'm one of the best young pitchers in the game. They say, no, Paul, we better not. All right. -1 right now. And I'm not saying that he's going to stay a Pirate. Everyone's like, there's no chance he ever stays a Pirate. If there's any chance, you let this man do something like this. And in my opinion, if guys are ready for it, they can just build their off seasons for it. I don't know. I just think a big monster dude like this, he's not going to hurt himself going to pitch for Team USA more than he is pitching for the Pirates when they're out of it in June. He's going to pitch the same level. And if you have time to prepare for it, now's the time to do it.
Okay, hold up. If you think that if the Pirates tell him he's not allowed to pitch in Team USA, he's gonna get mad at the Pirates. He's not staying with the Pirates past at the very latest his 6th year anyway. So that has nothing to do with it. The Pirates just have the power. I was told no by the White Sox.
You were?
The first WBC. After we won the World Series, I kind of tweaked my hamstring. I was running on a beach and I kind of tweaked my hamstring a little bit, and they're like, "Nope, no WBC for you." And I was like, that was the one that had Clemens and Griffey and Jeter and all of them on it.
Was it
was
much
the first
of a discussion?
Huh?
Was it much of a discussion?
Well, because no one really understood what it was then. So I was like, Buck Martinez was the manager. He called me and said, "Will you do this?" And I was like, "Let me think about it." And I called him back a couple of days, and he's like, "Well, sorry, you're out." The White Sox said no. And I was like, dang it. So, but yeah, I mean, the teams can say no. Mm-hmm. I know that we're like, oh, the player can do whatever he wants, but ultimately the team has the power.
But the team said yes to
the team said yes now.
Of
course they did, because but here's the thing. He's going to pitch more innings than he's ever pitched if he pitches every time. If there is the slightest thing, I mean, the slightest oblique or hamstring or knee pain or elbow pain, you're out, dude. Because the Pirates are going to maximize his starts until the moment they trade him or he walks out as a free agency. They should maximize every one of Skenes' starts.
And unless the team tanks and sells all of its parts,
they're not going to sell Skenes no matter what, right, until they have to and they know he's leaving.
I'm not saying
why
Skenes.
Would they?
I'm saying, let's say the Pirates actually dump some other players and they put the reset button on again because they have a new front office.
Who are they going to dump?
I'm saying they're not going to do that. So next year is still a big deal. They've been bad for a long time. Don't you think they're going to be like, hey, there's a lot going on here. We need to show signs of a turnaround. You pitching in the World Baseball Classic doesn't help us.
That's kind of my point.
And most starters do think that there is more of an injury risk when you're pitching high-level competition before you're usually
all they do is go Edwin Diaz.
And that wasn't even from
throwing. That was from jumping up and down.
I'll give you a name. Drew Smiley. Look up Drew Smiley and what he was doing, and then he ran into the WBC. I'm not blaming it. I love the WBC, so I'll put that out there. But I do get the point when we've had conversations with active starters who are like, yeah, do you want to up my risk of injury by whatever that number is? That no one will know the exact, but do you want to up my risk of injury by 10, 15%? Is it worth it for your team, for your owner, for your fan base? That's what we're dealing with here, Kratz. So I was surprised to see him say yes. I hope that more starters say yes. I think there's a better chance that guys who have been in the bigs for a while, have contracts, know their bodies really well, say yes to stuff like this. But you tell me.
I mean, this guy went to Air Force originally, so maybe the Team USA thing. I played with Noah Song for Team USA, and he went to Navy. Now I'm forgetting. I think he went to Navy. But Noah Song, like, that was an honor for him to wear the USA jersey. And my question is, you said you're surprised Paul Skenes said yes, or you're surprised the Pirates said yes?
The Pirates, not Skenes. Listen, it's an honor for anybody to put on their team, their country's jersey. Like, talk to anybody that's played in the WBC, talk to guys all over the place, the Olympics people. I mean, it is an honor to put on the Team USA jersey. Yes, Paul Skenes went to Air Force and he's big in the military, but there's a lot of guys that I have people in my family that were in the military, and I love USA. So, and I would have been honored to wear the USA jersey at some point in my career, right? But it's not that. It's the fact that the Pirates have to – they ultimately – that's it. The Pirates have to say. And if Bob Nutting wakes up one day and says, you know what, I don't want Skenes to pitch because I want his 32 starts in a Pirates uniform, and I want him to pitch in Bradenton and draw crowds when he pitches in Pirate City, and then get that – they have a good hamburger there at Pirate City, so outside in a food truck. I want a lot of people to come and eat at the food truck.
Don't you think Bob's just going to ask his GM or whoever his front office leader is?
I think the chances are less if there's a new GM.
Me too.
Than there are if Huntington stays or Charrington stays. Sorry.
Yeah, because if it's a new guy, he might be like,
"Listen, I don't want this dude to get hurt. He's my piece." Like, it's a less of a chance if Charrington's gone for me.
Agreed, 100%.
Because whoever they bring in is going to be like, my first thing is I don't want to lose Skenes for time. And then also, if I'm the new GM, as much as I hate to say this, you got to look into thinking about maybe.
No matter what, whether you're thinking about competing or trading, if you're a new GM and this is your prized piece, whether you're competing or you're building for the future, this is your prized piece. So the owner is probably going to say, hey, in this case, I don't know baseball. You tell me what we should do here. This is now your reins. Tell me what to do. It's interesting. That's why I was like,
I just don't think that I don't know that Bob Nutting can stay out of it that much.
What do you think is more? What do you think is more likely? Skenes actually pitching for the WBC, or us seeing the video of AJ running on the beach when he tore his hamstring, so he couldn't play in the WBC?
Well, I mean, there is no video of me pulling my hamstring.
Right, that's a 0.
So that's a 0. So the Skenes.
How about just running on the beach ever?
I mean, I usually don't film myself. I'm not Rocky. I don't film myself when I run on the beach.
Baywatch.
I mean, I'm no Mike Piazza taking swings in full uniform on the beach for no reason. Love you, Mike, but come on, that was a bad scene. You could have at least taken your shirt off at the time. I mean, Pam Anderson was still going to like you.
That was in Baywatch.
You've never seen that?
I've seen
Baywatch.
It's like 30 years old.
Mike Piazza, full Mike Piazza jersey on the beach taking hacks, and Pamela Anderson's like, oh, I wonder who that is. Oh, I don't know.
That's realistic.
Pam?
That's how you guys used to train. You monsters.
See, and the thing, like, people in the chat are like, well, Judge is on the team. Yeah, position players is a completely different animal. Position players, completely different. Pitchers, you only have so many bullets. And the fact that teams just don't want their best guys. Now, listen, there's certain guys that have power, that have pitched for long enough, and they're just like, I want to do this. I'm doing it. I'm under contract. I don't know. I don't even know. It's Jeremy's asking if there's insurance. There's got to be some sort of an insurance, but I don't know what.
It's huge.
Yeah, remember,
it's
Kershaw
monstrous.
didn't get cleared, right? Kershaw didn't get
It's
cleared
monstrous.
last time.
It's even monstrous. It's decently big insurance for like the little things. Like when I went over to Japan for all those stars, there's insurance that has to be taken out, and it's not now those guys are mostly on big time contracts, but the insurance part of it, when a dude is obviously there's tiers. When a dude's a big leaguer, it's more than a minor leaguer. When the dude is a top prospect, it's more than a nothing big leaguer. When dudes are all-stars, it's more than just a regular big leaguer. Like it's tiered, but there's some big insurance policies.
I mean, if you look at the Team USA, what it could be. I mean, Scooble, Skenes. I mean, Logan Webb. I mean, there's some names out there.
Endless starting pitching talent.
I mean, Logan Gilbert. I mean, you can name them. You can go Jacob deGrom. But all these guys aren't going to get cleared. deGrom will never get cleared. Skenes or Scooble probably won't get cleared because he's had arm problems in the past. And if you're the Tigers and he's not signed, and I think it's his last year of ARB next year, you think they're going to say,
hell no.
Hey, Tarek, go ahead and pitch for Team USA. And then they just sit there and go, God, please don't let anything, Mr. Pope, I know you're a White Sox fan and the Tigers are in your division, but please don't let anything happen to Tarek Scooble. Like, come on. Like, there's
Strider, no.
Right? I mean,
just go down the
Chris
line.
Sale is going to be no because he's too old. They're going to say
Sale, I think you have. See, I'll go.
See,
against
Sale
you
probably has a chance, but I don't think
this is the end of his career.
Yeah, I don't know. He would be one I would think, but I
if
mean,
you're
there's a
Alex
lot of
Anthopoulos,
guys.
I see your point, AJ. If you're Alex Anthopoulos and Sale is ready to go for the season, do I really want him?
And it's possibly his last year.
If I'm Alex, I'm like, WBC's cool, but screw off. It's my starter. He's had a checkered injury past in his 30s.
See, there you go.
I'm with you. That's why it's complicated. It's bumping up against our
It's cool.
season.
It's a cool announcement, though. He nailed the announcement.
I agree. He nailed the announcement. It's cool that he's doing it. Aaron Judge has nothing to do with Paul Skenes in any way. Position players have nothing to do with pitchers. And also, the last team had plenty of superstars for Team USA. That's not the problem.
No,
the problem
hitting
is
is
starting
not the,
pitching.
it's not the hitting problem.
No. Even relievers you can get away with, I think, much better than you can get away with starters.
Yeah, it's just such a pain in the ass for the manager because they can't pitch back to back, and teams call them and they have to. I mean, if you talk to D-Row about it, I mean, it's like, well, we can't pitch this guy this day. He can't pitch because, and they have back-to-back games, and sometimes you don't get the best against the best because you have to. Well, you have it's a lot. It's a lot.
So Mark DeRosa was on the Phillies show. He's the Team USA manager, former big leaguer, and he spoke about this. I encourage you to check out that episode. We also posted it on our Foul Territory podcast feed maybe 2 weeks ago, and they asked him about what he learned, and the biggest thing that he was giving back to them was the fact that he had to deal with way too much communication and rules with teams. I don't think that's going to change that much, but his point is that he would like to get players that he has more leeway with. It sounds like he'll do that even if that costs him some talent. So we'll see what happens. But you could feel the frustration in his answer. He was pissed off that he was told so many rules by so many different people, and it limits you so greatly. I don't know if you're going to escape that completely, but there's probably a way to at least get yourself to certain players that won't have as many restrictions. It's fascinating. It's far away. We're not going to announce every player and spend 10 minutes on it on our show. It's so far away. We'll obviously be all over it when it's happening in March, but this particular case I felt like was super fascinating. So anyway, let us know your thoughts, and we're going to step aside. We're going to get to the Detroit Tigers. Daniella Bruce is going to join us on FT for the first time. Be right back. Hey, FT fam. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, Cam, because we're busy and we would like all of the ingredients to cook up something nice and make us look like elite chefs at home.
You know what I do? I've got kids in basketball, I've got soccer, I've got baseball. And when they get home, there's a fresh meal and they think, "Oh, Dad, he's so great." Well, no, it's not me. It's HelloFresh. It's nutritious. It's packed full of good nutrients. The kids have good energy, and they look at me like I'm the greatest dad in the world. So make sure you go grab that HelloFresh, because you know what? It's doing my family all the good.
Cook up dishes like chicken Dijon and pecan-crusted trout, over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats as well. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make the season even more delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM now to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Hey, by the way, the Pirates are 14-28 after last night's loss. A little back and forth with the Mets. Sloppy game on both sides late, but Pete Alonso with the walk-off sac fly, he leads the National League in RBIs with 36, quietly having a monster polar bear year. There's the walk-off. We're looking at it right now, and that's already the 4th time this season Pittsburgh's lost a game in which Skenes allowed 2 runs or fewer. Cespedes Family Barbecue with the tweet. So that's a lot of good Skenes days wasted by a Pirates offense that can't do much. And the play with Henry Davis, we'll get into, I guess, later in the show, drove the Mets broadcast crazy. But anyway, Mets are humming along.
It shouldn't have driven them crazy. We're going to talk about it.
Okay.
But they should have been jumping up and down because it helped them win the game.
Yeah, but that broadcast team is
they're very
I like that style.
I do too.
Yeah. They treat it almost like a national game sometimes.
They root for they heavy root for their team.
Of course they do, but
they also criticize, which a lot of hometown announcers do not do.
Which makes it such a better broadcast because they're actually being real.
I agree. Be real. Be who you are. Don't fake it.
Tell me what's going on. Tell me the good, the bad on both sides. For me, that's a huge difference in a broadcast like that versus some others. Anyway, we're going to talk Pirates coming up next. We'll do 10 minutes.
We are?
Nope, Tigers. Pirates and Tigers sound very similar. We've done enough Pirates for the month.
Seriously.
Tigers TV reporter Daniella Bruce joining us right now on Foul Territory. Daniella, great to have you on the show. Thank you for the time. Tell us about what you're seeing so far this year with the gritty Tigers coming off last year's incredible run.
The Tigers so far this season has been the story of the guys that we were questioning coming into the season, right? Like Spencer Torkelson, what was he going to give us? Javi Baez, Casey Mize, who right now is on the 15-day injured list with a hamstring injury. But what were all of those guys going to give this team? Because the belief in the organization was that they were going to get better from within for the most part. They bring in Gleyber Torres, a couple of other arms, but for the most part, they're going to get better from within. And we've seen that. Spencer Torkelson has already hit 10 home runs, which was his season total last year. He's leading the American League with 33 RBIs at the moment. So just seeing a lot of really great improvements from some of the guys that left some question marks for us heading into the spring. And so far, they've been really fun to watch. And obviously watching Tarek Skubal pitch every 5th day is a treat here in Detroit.
Wait, you said from within? Like this is how they're supposed to be built? Is that what they told you at the end of spring training? Because In the offseason, they were going after Alex Bregman and gave a pretty good offer. That seems like somebody from the outside to add to what they already have. What was that reception like also?
Yeah, I mean, I think fans were a little disappointed that Bregman ultimately didn't choose to come to Detroit. That's natural. You heard the boos last night when the Tigers played game 1 of the Red Sox series. But I think that, at least for me and from within, there's guys that can play third base on this team. So I don't think anybody was... Yeah, maybe there was a little worry. I don't want to say they weren't worried, but there are guys that can fill that role and there are guys that can play that role. And we've seen that. It's been a bit of a platoon. Matt Vierling was pegged for one of the guys that would play over there, but he started the season on the injured list. He's on his rehab assignment now, so he's getting closer to getting back. But we've seen Andy Ibanez play a pretty good third base. Jace Young, his bat's struggling a little bit at the major league level, but we've seen a decently solid third base over there. And I think Zach McKinstry also takes some time. Then Javi Baez has taken some reps over there. So yeah, you don't have that everyday third baseman, but I don't think the fact that Bregman didn't sign here means the Tigers didn't have belief in some of the guys that they have in their system. They also wanted another right-handed bat.
Daniella, first of all, I want you to understand something. I know you have a cool plant, but my plant is bigger than your plant, and my plant feels jealous that you show your plant. And Scott has taken my plant away from me. This is my emotional support plant, and Scott has moved it out of my shot, so I had to go grab it real quick because my plant is bigger than your plant.
If I'm being honest, I tried to trim that plant up not too long ago because it was getting crazy. And I made it look terrible. So honestly, I probably should take it out of my shot next time. But that's
okay. It's a real. Yours is real though. Yours is a real plant.
It's real. Yeah, it's real.
Oh, she's a baller. She's a grinder.
Oh yeah, that's way different than my plant. My plant is not real.
We do not take.
You can just pull leaves off this thing. Look, see, I have a leaf.
Oh.
Scott can start fanning me from over here now.
Great.
Right now, feed me grapes, Scott. But my question is for Javi Baez. Javi Baez is off to a really good start. Is all they had to do move him to center field? Was that what they should have done years ago?
Maybe.
Got him away from shortstop and said, just go play center.
I laugh with AJ Hinch because he keeps telling all of us that Javi is going to go back to shortstop, and I have yet to see that since the day he started playing in center field. But he's been great out there, and I've talked to Javi pretty at length about what he feels is different this year, and he really does point to how he's feeling physically, how healthy he feels. I don't even think he expected to feel as good as he does now after having the hip surgery at the end of last year. So once he started rehabbing and realizing that, wow, I feel so much better now, he was able to get back into that mindset of I'm going to get back to where I was. I'm going to contribute to this team. And he's doing that at the plate too. He's been much better from that perspective. And having him in center field has been huge for the Tigers because we just talked about third base. I think heading into the season, everybody was a little bit more concerned about center field because we had 3 center fielders go down back to back, starting with Parker Meadows in spring, Matt Vierling shortly after, and then Wenzel Perez when they played that the series in San Francisco to start the season, the exhibition games. So you lose 3 center fielders right there, and you're wondering what they're going to do out there. Riley Green can play there. That Zach McKinstry might be able to take some reps out there. Ryan Kreidler filled that void for a little while. But Javi Baez has really embraced it, and all his teammates describe it as he's playing like a little kid out there. He's playing like he's playing, 12U Little League and really enjoying baseball again. So yeah, Javi in center has been a huge thing for the Tigers and a big reason why they've found so much success early.
A team that's young and having everybody kind of hitting on all cylinders right now, the fear is, for me, where's the depth? So do they have depth in the minor leagues that can fill in? Obviously, Vierling coming back, what he did, anchoring kind of the 3 or 4 spot in the lineup last year was awesome, but do they have the depth, or is it only those guys coming off the IL that they really have if and when something happens?
Yeah, I think they have a little bit more depth in the pitching department than they do right now in the position players. But when you look at that, who's on the team right now, like a Justin Henry Malloy, and you have the guys like Jace Young, who's up here, who likely won't be by the time our roster is fully healthy. So those are players that can come back up, make a difference at any time, or stay on this team and make a difference. So I do think there is some depth there. Are there some players that are in the system that are really exciting that probably aren't quite ready to get to the big leagues yet. Yes, the guys that are always talked about are the Max Clarks and Kevin McGonigal in the system. Tyrone Lorenzo has been really, really good too. But I think there is going to be some tough decisions that have to be made. And now that you've seen guys play in different positions, I don't know if depth's quite the issue. Like you've seen Javi Baez play shortstop, obviously. And when he's in center field, you've got Trey Sweeney, who's playing an excellent shortstop, and he's been hitting like crazy too. And then Zach McKinstry just filled in at short the other day, and he made some fantastic plays over there. So when you look positionally, the Tigers just have so many players that can be moved to different spots that's where their depth really comes from. And I think the guys that we're not going to see as much of once we're a fully healthy roster, they might be in Toledo and they're going to be ready to go whenever they need to get the call up too.
Daniela, what's different with Torkelson? I mean, this is the guy they thought when they drafted him 1-1, right? And he came in with all the hype. But what's really different about him? Because if you watch him, I mean, maybe some plate discipline, but he looks the same. He's standing the same. He's swinging the same. Is it just a confidence thing?
His stance is actually very different. That's one thing that he worked on in the offseason. So he was standing very wide last year, and he kind of narrowed his stance, staggered his feet a little bit. And he calls it a more athletic stance where he feels like he can get to the ball faster. He has a better view of the pitches coming in. He's able to work at bats a little bit better, but he's made his swing a little more athletic. And he talks about that a lot, just how that's really helped him with his timing and get back to feeling like the hitter that he was in college, because we didn't see that through his first stretch in the big leagues. And then he was able to make those adjustments in the offseason. And now he feels very consistent, very confident. And like what he's doing now is really working for him.
Okay, because it's hard. I mean, his hands and everything, it's hard to see his feet. You're there every day, obviously.
So if you take a look at it, if you can look at like a side-by-side of his stance from last year and what he's doing now with his feet, it's just a little bit more, it does really look more athletic. Like he describes it as last year, he was just a little bit too wide, and it was causing him to not be able to get to certain pitches, or the where the bat was hitting the barrel was a little bit different just because of how his swing was coming through. And the way he's standing now feels a lot more comfortable for him, and he's able to see the ball better, make better contact, and feels more athletic in the box.
Tommy Kahnle, what does that nut job, who is a huge friend of mine, friend of the show, what has he changed about a bullpen that essentially it was Tarek Skubal and what they call it, pitching chaos? No, pitching that was chaos. Yeah, pitching that's right. Chaos. You just go out and like, what has Tommy Kahnle, besides the fact that his life is chaos, changed about that bullpen?
Well, the Tigers love to have different looks in their bullpen, and Tommy Kahnle, it is incredible what he can do with the changeup. I knew when he was signed, reading about him, what he was able to do in New York, that he mostly used the changeup, but it's pretty spectacular that he can get out there, and hitters know he's going to throw the changeup and they still can't hit it. So he's added a little bit more stability, a little bit more veteran presence. He just hit his 10-year service time. So he's really good from that standpoint with some of the younger arms that we have coming out of the bullpen. But I actually just talked to Tarek Skubal about Tommy not too long ago. And Tommy came in for Tarek in Tarek's last start. And Tommy Kahnle's changeup is something even Tarek Skubal, who has one of the best changeups I've ever seen, says he's dialed in watching Tommy Kahnle pinch, whether it's the metrics or the way that the ball's coming out of his hand or his mechanics, whatever it is, he's dialed watching something when Tommy Kahnle comes into the game. So I think that just says a lot about the level that he pitches at. And for a reliever that throws, I think it's over 80% changeup, is pretty spectacular. So he adds a little bit of versatility into the bullpen, and the fact that he gets guys out with just one pitch, and that veteran presence too. I know that sounds a little cliche, but I think it means a lot to a team that is really young.
Okay, we're gushing. I picked this team to have the best record in the American League, so we're on the same page, but it's early. Tell me where the concern level is. When you have combos with AJ Hinch, I'm sure he says, hold up. This part of the team I'm concerned about. So where are we at?
AJ Hinch doesn't speak like that. I'm telling you right now, when you hear him say he focuses on today's game, he really does. And he will do whatever it takes to win that game. I don't know if you saw the doubleheader in Colorado last week, but he brought up Brewer Hicklin to play in the outfield just for that game because he knew he could get his guys a little bit of rest before we had to fly back to Detroit and play Texas the next day. So he's always strategically thinking about ways that he's going to win that specific game. And even if you ask him about having the best record in the American League, he's going to tell you that they're focused on today. And I think he really has put that mindset into all of his players. And that's why they are where they are right now. That's why they went on that run that they did at the end of the season. Of course, everybody's always like, we're fairly healthy right now. We've been able to get through some of the major injuries that happened in the spring. The rotation's fairly healthy right now. Casey Mize is on the 15-day IL, but you look at that and you know that things are going to come up throughout the season. So I think aside from just looking at depth and making sure you have guys in the right spots, that would be where the biggest concern is. Jack Flaherty hasn't been pitching the way that we know he can pitch. So I think there's some work there for him to be done. But right now, things seem to be really going well for the Tigers. And you have guys playing every day like Zach McKinstry. He's always been a big example of somebody who's never played this type of role on a major league team. He hasn't been in the lineup every single day. So just making sure that you're getting him used to that physically is another thing that we hear a lot about. So for now, I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. And I know that probably isn't going to happen for the entire season. And I know they think that that probably isn't going to happen for the entire season, but they've always found ways to fill the gaps when it's needed. I mean, we brought up pitching chaos already. The Tigers had 2 starting pitchers, 2 true starters when they went into that stretch last year and ultimately made a playoff run. So I don't think they look at it like that. I think they know there's going to be challenges that come up, but this team has been really, really good at figuring out how to deal with them.
Daniella, what can they add? Because I think we all are in agreement that this team should make the playoffs. And Skubal, Flaherty, whether it's Mize, Olsen, whoever the third guy is, fourth guy in that rotation is, but who can they add? Do they need a reliever? Do they need another bat? Do they need another starter?
They'll always look for arms. I don't think you can ever have enough pitching.
Every team though. So I mean, like saying they need an arm, and that's like, well, I need another arm.
That's right. Everybody does, right? And the Tigers were pretty open about looking for right-handed hitters during the offseason too. And Gleyber Torres has filled that role pretty well for the Tigers. He's done a good job. He puts together great at-bats, and he's a veteran presence too. But I think that's something that, you know, Scott Harris is probably still going to look at as this team gets stronger. And if they do start to make a run, trade deadline approaches, what exactly are they looking to add? They might need some outfield depth if these guys don't get back and healthy. So that's something you can look at. Manuel Margot is still a part of this organization too. The Tigers added him late after some of those outfield injuries. So he's down in Toledo. But I definitely think that they'll tell you, like you said, they always need arms. That might be the cliche answer, but you'll always want arms to shore up that pitching rotation, because the Tigers pitching is, if they can have that locked in and they can score the amount of runs that they have or even less, they're still in a pretty good spot. So I think that will be where they're looking at, but we've still got quite a bit of time until that happens. So you never know what could happen between now and the deadline, or now if there is a trade that wants to be made, there's still some time to figure that out. And I think I've learned a lot about baseball in the past couple of years, and knowing that if you're looking that far ahead already, you have no idea who's going to be healthy or what the roster is going to look like exactly at that point. So making those decisions this early would be a little crazy, especially when the team is playing the way that they're playing. They do have some talent within. I think it's real. We're a quarter of the way through the season.
Daniella, great to have you on. Thank you for the time. This was really good. And I like how you said real at the end of your last answer, because that's what Daniella has behind her, and we have fake. This is fake.
We need to send you guys a real plant. Like, what the heck? Come on.
The problem
They will
is
kill it.
It will die.
They don't. They're not.
we are not very mature. We are not very responsible.
Speak for yourself.
We are not very around. So it would not do well.
No one would water the plant. Okay.
You're on the road a little bit. How would you do with a plant in here?
I don't want a plant here. I have my plant.
Right.
Scott took my plant away, Daniella.
Well, now it gets
he took my plan away.
The show. Thanks for watching Step Brothers. Daniella, great to have you on. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Make sure you catch Daniella, of course, on Twitter. Give her a follow, but also on the Tiger broadcast. That broadcast is awesome, by the way. Your boy Benetti on there. They do a great job. And we've got Tiger Territory. Kieran Steckley, Cody Hagen, who covers the team for The Athletic and does an awesome job, plus Austin Jackson, who's bringing the heat. Check out that show wherever you get your pods. Be right back. This is a straightforward show, so I'm going to be very straightforward with everyone about PXG. Fastest way to improve your performance on the golf course is to get yourself a PXG golf fitting. Go in there and let the experts help you.
I've been using PXG for a few years now, Scotty. They are perfect. I love the way they feel. They fit them perfectly to my swing. They weighted them. They put grips in them. They put shafts in them. They use their heads, and they fit my swing beautifully. They have definitely improved my game. They just recently hooked me up with their new Allen putter, which is off the chain. I was draining putts the other day, left and right. So I definitely say go get your fitting at PXG. Nobody goes golf the way PXG does.
Yes, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/FOUL to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/foul. Restrictions apply. See site for details. I want to pop this tweet in here from Red Sox Stats. Detroit broadcast opens talking about Houck's splitter being awful and with weird sinker location to righties. First two batters of the game, terrible splitter smoked, sinker to a righty in the hot spot, crushed for a home run. Detroit well schooled. Yeah, Houck's had a couple good ones, but he's had some real clunkers so far this season. So teams that can smack it have a good game plan against him right now.
Yeah.
No? Nothing there?
I don't know. That's how you want to throw it. That's where you want to throw it. If you're throwing a splinker to a righty, like I don't know if his is a true split, but like if I haven't watched him pitch that much, so I'm just going off generalities here. But if you usually it goes like this, right, to a righty, so it would go down and in. Well, if you throw your sinker down and in, you want it to come on the same plane. It would make sense. Like if you're going right on right change, you want to throw it in. You don't want to throw the changeup away because the hitter sees it in, they get excited, and then they swing it early.
Generally, actually, Kratz, from what I know, it's not the problem against righties for Houck. I think lefties torch him.
They were, but his issue is the slider. Nothing's going the opposite way. That's what he feasted on last year. He did an amazing job of that, like whatever the differential was. I think his differential was like one of the best in the league. Like, I don't know how many inches it was, but the difference where sinker and slider start at the same spot and they just look the exact same. He's not throwing the slider for strikes. So, yeah, anything in, they're able to hit it. But to me, that heat map doesn't, like, I bet your overlay of everybody's heat map with the same type of stuff from this arm angle out here would probably be very similar. They just can sit on it, though. He needs to get the slider in the zone more.
Hey, the Braves have been playing really good ball with Alex Verdugo. Not saying it's all him, but they've got a good record since he was called up, and he had the walk-off knock yesterday for the team, but the outfield is lurking. It's going to get a little stronger. Superstar Ronald Acuña Jr. rehab assignment starts today, and he posted on his Instagram. Is that Planet of the Apes or King Kong?
King Kong.
King Kong? Okay. King Kong posted on the Instagram for the 2023 National League MVP. He's going to play a little Florida Complex Rookie League ball, and he's going to play in the outfield right off the jump.
He's been playing. He's getting at bats. I know that. I've said that. But by the way, can we just get him off social media? Because last time he went on social media, it didn't end well. And before – but can I just ask you guys a question? I know we're talking about Ronald Acuña, but does anybody have a privacy screen? Do you guys have privacy screens on your
I don't.
products? So I recently got one on my iPad, and just because I don't want when I fly so much and I watch a lot of movies and sometimes there's scenes that are inappropriate. But how do you keep it clean? Sorry, way off the rails here. But how do you keep it clean? Because it gets so dirty. It's like
the screen itself does?
Yeah, and you have to clean it all the time. It's kind of annoying.
Well, the funny thing is, Kratz, Ronald Acuña Jr. actually knows how to solve this, but AJ just said he can't post on socials anymore.
Oh, well, there you go. See? I didn't say he can't post.
Out.
I just said last time he posted it didn't go so good.
True. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, there's got to be you can Google anything these days. There's got to be a way where, there's some trick. You wash it under something and then the screen gets better.
I know. It's fine.
Maybe watch appropriate movies.
Yeah, but even if there's movies where you're sitting next to like a nice older lady and there's, a couple people start, every show has some sort of action scene in it.
I get it.
And you're like, the stewardess is walking by and there's like some naked people on her. You're like,
I get that.
10 seconds.
It is weird.
Right?
That is always weird when you're on a plane. I mean, and most of my flights are
even if you're
northeast to
watching it on
Orlando.
I fly Delta a lot, so
Yeah.
like you're watching Delta on the seat back. In the movies, they'll have it on there. And at the beginning it says, if you're not mature, then don't watch this movie. And I'll just be like, whatever, proceed. But there are times where, and you're like, and everyone can see it. And it's like two people doing adult things.
There's a lot of kids on flights to Orlando.
I know. It's like a little bit awkward.
It is a little bit awkward.
Sorry. Let's go back to these. Look, cool that Ronald Acuña's back. King Kong. Better play like King Kong.
I mean, he does play
Sometimes.
like a
He
top
does
5 player
sometimes.
in the sport.
He does.
We'll see. How do you think he's going to come back from a second ACL surgery? Do you think it's going to take a little time?
I think he should be better than the first one because he's already done it.
Yeah. I think they're also slow playing it more.
Oh, they've definitely
Kratz.
slow played this one compared to last time.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be better. Is he going to be 2023 Ronald Acuña Jr. Kratz? That's a tall task.
No, I would take the under. And I think Braves fans have to appreciate that. Is he going to be better than the other right fielders that they're running out there? Absolutely. So that's an upgrade. Whatever you get from him, to me, is probably going to be better than what you already had running out there. It's just going to be a matter of making sure he comes along slow, which is really tough to do when you have a dude that just wants to go out and play. Ronald Acuña, he goes and plays winter ball. Why? Because he likes to play baseball. He likes to be out there. He's a showman. He wants to be out on the field. Like, that's going to be the Braves. Mike Frostad there. No, Frosty's not their trainer. George Poulos is going to have to make sure he talks to Snit and says, we got to back him off a little bit. We just played extra innings. We played 11 innings last night. Let's not even pinch hit with him in the 7th. Like, give him the full day off, which is hard to do. It's like having a race car and not driving it fast.
Especially when you're going to likely be in a wild card race. Hey, Sprucey said use the little microfiber cloth that they come with.
I mean, I have one.
You have that.
I have
Yeah.
one. I mean, I have one. It's just weird when you're sitting here going,
Yeah, you have to. My screen gets
Watching your
dirty.
weird films.
right? Yeah, my weird films. Like, I mean, I watch it. So I go through shows. Like, I just watched the Righteous Gemstones. There's nudity in that show, and it's part of a comedy. It's not like it's a adult film,
Yeah,
right? Or you watch any show. Like, I
Almost
watched any show you watch nowadays, because they're all on Netflix or HBO or Apple or Hulu. They all have adult themes in them.
even if it's a
Wheel of
gory
Fortune?
theme, right? Well, come on. Even if it's
Depends.
a
If you
gory
watch South
theme,
Park, Wheel of Fortune has adult themes.
if there's a 10-year-old sitting next to me, I don't want him watching Narcos when I'm watching
Yeah.
that. I mean, they're chopping off body parts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things. So
Yeah.
anyways.
All right, so let's talk Yankees. Yankees broadcaster Justin Shackil is joining us next.
You can
That was
ask him
kinda
about his character.
He travels.
That was gruesome
Seattle.
last night.
FT fam, make smarter bets. Let's talk about the Hall of Fame app, Erik Kratz. Since we have a fake fern next to us, I feel like
It's
you're
not a fern. That's not a fern.
all right, whatever it is, a fake plant next to us. I feel like you're the guy to give us real insights on a parlay that you whipped up for BetMGM on the Hall of Fame app. What do you have for us today?
Well, first of all, it's a fake fiddly fig. Second of all, I have a little parlay hit bet. Two of the hotter hitters on the Phillies, in the Phillies lineup today, facing, hey, you know what? Sonny Gray. I get it. It's a tougher matchup, but Kyle Schwarber's been on base 47 consecutive games. Trey Turner's numbers, while it's minus 290 right now to get a hit for today's game, they were actually pushing 2 hits today. So the app is so simple because you just add in and you look at it gives you a grade of what you have an opportunity to win. When it's green, you're like, this is one to hit. So you get 2 greens, put them together, bada bing, you get a plus 115.
Love that. Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber to get knocks tonight against the Cardinals. That's playing on BetMGM for same game parlay at plus 115. Good luck to you, Kratz. No pressure. But if you'd like to join that little Kratz parlay action that he'll be diving into each day, then for a limited time, FT fam, a 7-day free trial Also, 50% off your first month when you use code FOUL at checkout. Download the Hall of Fame app on iOS or Android. Enter code FOUL, and you're all set. We'll be back in 1 minute. We're talking to Yankees broadcaster Justin Shackil. He's calling the Yankees-Mariners series over these few days. Yanks picked up a big win yesterday, a lot of power. By the way, they're leading, I don't know if it's all of baseball or the American League in home runs by a really wide margin.
Like, got a lot of guys that hit homers.
Yeah, 25
they don't even have Stanton.
Plus. Right. Stanton's not even there. Jazz is still hurt. They've got a lot of power in that lineup.
They got a lot of power, but that's always been kind of what they've done.
Yeah.
That's why they've been able to be pitched to in the postseason, though, is because you get better stuff.
Right.
Don't give up as many homers usually in the postseason because you're only facing the team's best usually.
I'm still amazed at how many pitches. I know we talk about this a lot, Judge. It's not even just attacking him. I'm amazed at how much, like, I think I looked the other day, his like in zone percentage and how much like
because he has.
Zone.
Okay, so here's the thing about Judge, and I think Kratz, we don't have time.
We'll
get into it one day, or maybe we'll ask Justin.
Talk to Justin about it. Justin Shackil joining us right now. You can hear him calling the Yankees and the Mariners. He called the Yankees and the A's as well, doing an awesome job. You can hear him on WFAN, on Yes Network, covering the Yanks for years. First time, I think, on this show. Justin, great to have you on, man. How you doing?
It is my first time. Pleasure to join you guys. What's going on?
You're doing a great job. Love hearing the calls. Let's go backwards for a moment. How was Sacramento? Because that was your first Yankees game that you ever called on TV, and you're calling it in such a weird environment. I know it was packed there, obviously, because the owner of the A's loves Aaron Judge, and obviously there's plenty of Yankee fans out there. But how was that whole experience for you?
From a play-by-play standpoint, I was getting PCL'd a lot. There's no third deck. A little challenging to judge some fly balls because there's really no background there. But overall, it was fine. The wind plays a factor for sure, but as far as the ballpark experience in total, it was fine. Sacramento was a really nice host city. Everybody around the ballpark was super kind. They're trying to make the situation as comforting as possible. And overall, I have nothing but nice things to say about what we went through in Sacramento. Nicer to be in Seattle, though.
Seattle's a little different city than Sacramento. Justin, does it count for your first game? I have a couple questions for you. First of all, how do you protect your screen when you travel? Make sure people don't see those dirty movies that you're watching while you're traveling, because we just had a conversation about that. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. But second of all, does it count because your first game was in Sacramento and that's a minor league city? So does that count as your first big league play-by-play game?
That's a great question. I did ask myself that. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say it counts for sure, just to add more to the ledger. But there was something that I definitely felt when I walked into T-Mobile Park and again, just saw the third level of a big league ballpark. And I've been here the last few years with the Yankees, so it was a familiar territory, and it felt good to be in Seattle. Yankees have had a lot of success here. And, they're rolling right now. I know you guys just talked about their home runs. I mean, 74 in 41 games. Really impressive any way you slice it.
All right. So before we get into the actual Yankee stuff, there's a certain broadcaster that's not a Yankees affiliate. And Dave Sims took some time off, right? And he got roasted a little bit. I have no problem with Dave Sims taking some time off. Why did he get roasted for taking a couple of days off? I mean, all broadcasters take a couple of days off. Did you see this?
I did not see this.
Oh.
And I love Dave Sims.
I love Dave Sims. But there was a guy who that kind of took some shots. It's your dream job. Justin knows what I'm talking about.
Was it Mad Dog?
I'm not going to say his name. But
what? He gave him crap?
Yes. He's like, this is Dave Sims' dream job, and he's already taking days off. Like, dude, everyone needs days off.
Stop it.
We're human. We're human. We need days off.
Yes.
I filled in for him all the time. So I'm learning this on the fly here. I filled in for him all the time. There were 2 or 3 people when I used to work at MLB that were out all the time.
Plus, Dave's a big league broadcaster. He didn't want to go to Sacramento. Do you blame him? I bet he's in Seattle.
Nobody calls 162. That's a fact.
He's in Seattle.
He's a Ford Frick nominee. He can do whatever he wants. And, you don't need me to validate that. But We're all human. Yeah, we need days off.
By the way, it's his revenge series, so Dave's going to be on
Ooh.
point this series.
It's the Dave Sims Bowl.
That's right.
That's right. All right, so let's get deeper into the Yanks right now. Justin, tell me what you're seeing that's working well for this team, and then also, obviously, on the other side of the spectrum, where are the concerns at? I know we've got Fried pitching tonight. That's probably a good place to start because they nailed that one.
Yeah, not a concern there. That's for sure. Max Fried has been everything and probably more for the Yankees, especially when Garrett Cole went down. He stepped up. I mean, he is filled in the ace role as well as you could hope for. Carlos Rodon, I feel like, is getting more and more comfortable with each start in year 3 now as a Yankee. Starting to see Clark Schmidt. Again, he started the season late. Last night, he pitched into the 7th inning. I think that was like the next step for him as a younger pitcher, trying to find his way in the big leagues with the type of stuff he has. It was just the second time in his career where he's posted back-to-back 6-inning outings. So, figuring out a way for him to effectively navigate an opposing lineup the third way through, that's been a quality sign for sure. I think ultimately their biggest need is still another starting pitcher near the back of the rotation. They're going to get Luis Gil back. He's about to begin a throwing program here, so he's got to still ramp up and do his entire real spring training again. But I think the biggest need is probably another starting pitcher in that rotation. The offense, I know AJ mentioned it. When you run into great pitching, when the games matter more down the stretch and in October, the real test is there. But right now, with the games you're playing in front of you, I think you're seeing a different and, man, without Juan Soto, dare I say, a more balanced offense. They're certainly more athletic, and they're doing a lot of the smaller things right this year.
Okay, because it's not at a highlight, but where does, everyone remembers that inning. That inning had nothing to do with their bats, balanced lineup, anything like that. It had to do with their fielding. Is that the biggest, because they're still kind of deficient in that area? I think they've upgraded. I think Paul Goldschmidt has helped that a lot because Rizzo wasn't having a great year when he was there. Is that the one area that they can't upgrade? You can't just go and find gold at the trade deadline. You can't find gold glove infielders to plug in.
Well, look, through 41, you're right. Goldschmidt's made a huge difference at first base. I think you got to, I guess, maybe see more of what you're getting from the entire infield as we lead toward the deadline. I still think pitching is, if you're going to address one big need, if you're going to give up some type of prospect capital, it's going to be for another starting pitcher. But yeah, I think a big question after that one inning in the World Series is hey, what's that going to do to this team? Are they going to get tougher? Is that going to harden them up a little bit more and serve them really well for the future? That was what obviously the hope was if you're around the team. I think that was one of the bigger questions that you probably had for the group as a whole. What would be the residual effect of that World Series outcome? So far, so good. I think Paul Goldschmidt has a lot to do with that on both sides of the ball. He's making really nice plays at first base. He's making it easier on the other infielders. Yeah, maybe they are going to press the need for another infield. We obviously know what happened with Oswaldo Cabrera last night. Third base is open. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is out right now. Second base is open, but they're going to wait and see, I feel. And again, ultimately, if you have to ask, if you're going to have to choose between a big upgrade in the infield or address the rotation, I'd be going with starting pitching.
All right. So how bad is this injury? Not in the sense of we saw how gruesome it was, but how bad is it in the sense that they win the game, but the feeling in the clubhouse, just the overall, because he's not the superstar on the team, but I know what kind of effervescent personality he brings and that smile he brings. How bad of a hit to the vibes on this team is Oswaldo Cabrera getting hurt last night?
Yeah, Erik. I left the ballpark right after the game. I didn't go in the clubhouse, but for everything I heard, they play music, obviously, like every team does after they come up with a win. There was no music there, and you're right. You talked about the type of person Oswaldo Cabrera is. It's funny because he's so unique in the sense that the human and the player blend together because he brings the same energy and joy. on and off the field. And I think he affects so many around the Yankees organization. He's not a superstar player, but he came up a few years ago. He had a hot start. They plugged and played him almost everywhere defensively, and he held his own for sure. And he's playing an effective third base now, came to spring training, won the job, and it is just it's a real bummer to see him go down like this because the ballpark last night was just stone cold silent. And I call boxing guys. I've seen some, not to get too graphic, but like when I'm ringside and I see like a boxer get knocked down and their head smack off the mat, it's awful to watch. Last night was awful to take in, and it's tough to root for a better person than Oswaldo Cabrera because his joy, I think his mentality, the attitude he brings, it's infectious. It makes you stop and think about whatever problems you may have. And again, this isn't hyperbole here. Whatever problems that you may be going through, once you see him and the joy and the attitude and the smiles that he brings, you kind of say to yourself, man, nothing going on in my life is too bad when you're around people like that. They kind of put things in perspective for you.
Justin, before I go to Aaron Judge, it was Boomer Esiason, and some Bengals fans wish he would have taken the Super Bowl off. They lost to the 49ers. Sorry, too soon. 11 for what was he? 11 for 25 for 144 and interception. So sorry, too soon maybe. I don't know, but yeah, it was Boomer, not Mad Dog. So I apologize to Mad Dog, which is something I never thought I'd say in my life. But okay. Anyways, why do teams pitch to Aaron Judge? Why? I know why. Why are they pitching to Aaron Judge? I don't care who hits behind him, but why would you let him at any time get his A swing off and hit a home run? I know pitchers make mistakes. We're human, but why are we pitching to him?
I don't know. I'm not going to keep asking that. It's too much fun calling his swings. I'm going to take it. Look, they keep pitching to him. He's going to hit him out. He's going to have impactful swings. You're watching greatness, man. It really hit me a couple years ago, like kind of like just slapped me in the face. Like, this is truly an all-time great, and you get a front row seat. You get the best seat in the house to watch him. It's incredible. I think the coolest part is that he forces so many people around him, and not just inside the clubhouse, to be great and try and elevate their game and rise up in order to meet his moments. That's certainly the case for us in the booth. So it's so much fun. He got on base 4 times last night, like regular night at the office. What? And I know he takes so much pride in the batting average, obviously hitting over 400, but this is a guy who has often talked about in the past how much the stats that I grew up with, batting average, runs batted in, you take a closer look at those are the things that he does pay attention to as well. And watching guys like an Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera, man, he's right up there now. He's right up there with some of the best right-handed hitters of the last quarter century.
My thing is just, you look at all these pitches that he's hitting out, they're all out over the plate. Does anybody ever pitch him in? Does anybody ever throw Aaron Judge inside? Because every ball he hits is, I know he does pull some breaking balls every once in a while, but every home run we just showed was a ball out over the plate, and he just extended center to right, especially in Yankee Stadium. Good Lord. But, he can just shank a ball, and it still goes down the right field line for a home run. But does anybody ever pitch him inside?
Well, how would you call for pitches against him?
You gotta show him something in. I'm sorry, I know. He's got a hot zone in there, but I think the hot zone is on breaking balls that don't do a lot. You gotta give him something inside at some point. And every game I watch, it's like slider away, fastball away, slider away, and he's just like, I'm gonna keep leaning out there until they make a mistake, and then I'm gonna shoot him right center for a homer.
What's wild is I feel like they're going by the book from like 2017, 2016 when he first broke in. He would chase those pitches. Yeah. He hit 179. Obviously, the evolution of a great hitter like Aaron Judge, it's changed over time. That's what I think when I see those breaking pitches, those sliders kind of tail off the outside part of the plate. He spits on them now. A completely different hitter. You're not going to see him chase these things anymore. He's become, again, the elite of elite. So I'm with you, but I'm not questioning it. I can't question it. It's too
Yeah,
fun.
you're
the
rooting
other
for
way,
it.
man.
You're rooting for it.
It's too much fun.
He's a homer. I get it. You're a homer. That's okay because we're all should be homers when he comes up to the plate.
How am I supposed to feel in this situation?
Right. No, that's it. So that's why I'm going to ask my next question. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes. You know what's funny? You brought up Chris Mad Dog Russo, okay? New York kid. Grew up listening to Mike and Chris. It's just like embedded into me. They got to have 6 Hall of Fame worthy seasons, 7 Hall of Fame worthy seasons. Like that's the magic number. He's right there. Aaron Judge is right there. And yes, I mean, it's only a matter of the days coming off the calendar at this point because he's just going to continue this incredible production. So yes, in my book, he's already a Hall of Famer.
He'll get in. If he just continues to do what he's doing, he's in. He's in. He played in New York. He's the captain of the New York Yankees. So he's already checked 2 boxes, okay? And he's really good with the media. There's 3 boxes. And then 4 is he's a really good player, so he's going to get in.
Judge?
Oh, for how long?
100%.
Of course.
What do you mean for how long?
How long does he need to play?
If he finishes his contract and he has average years, he's in.
Okay. He's got 1,091 hits right now. He's got 329 homers.
It's looked at differently, Justin.
It's way different.
How many
more years does he have on his contract?
Wait,
how many more years does he have? 4 more years? 5 more? How many more years?
Justin, you know this. There's a line that most voters use nowadays. You can agree with it or not, but they're looking at stuff like WAR, career WAR, and I'm pretty sure he's already above the number needed. Yeah. He's at 56 for Baseball Reference.
Although we did bring up Lou Whitaker yesterday, who had like 75 and is not in. So just FYI.
Right, but, different time period.
No, different 75 WAR. But my point is if he has, 6 more years left on his contract? I forget what year, when Arson Judge almost signed with the Giants. So if he has 6 more years left on his contract and he hits 25 homers a year, that puts him at almost 500 homers. You don't think if he hits 490 homers and does what he keeps doing, he's not going to be in? He's in. He's going to be in. I'm sorry, he's in.
50 plus, Justin, I think generally gives you good consideration. Then you factor in what he's done during that time period. And yes, he's going to play for years. I don't even think it's a debate.
It will help him if he wins a World Series, though. Maybe not for the Hall of Fame, but for Yankee fans to just let it go. Kind of like, there's certain people that just need to win that thing if you're on a certain team because the Yankees have to win. It's win or nothing. He's got to get the World Series.
Yeah, as far as the Hall of Fame goes, I'm with you, Scott. I think that's how you'll probably look at it on that note. But I think Aaron Judge would agree with you. He wants the World Series. He wants the championship title, and I think that's why you always hear him say, "Yeah, I'm not a finished product yet." Like, dude, you're hitting 409. He's like, "Yeah, there's still room for improvement." So I think that's what's fueling him there.
Hey, Justin, last one from someone, obviously. I've known you for a long time now, and I think we're in a similar age. I mean, you've been, in my mind, one of the better broadcasters, voices, the whole deal in baseball, right, for a long time. So without going through your whole life story, I just think your story is super helpful for a lot of aspiring broadcasters out there and how difficult it is, especially, obviously, to make it in New York. But can you just give either one tip or one, kind of appreciation moment to point out for people that have followed your story for a while? Like, yeah, this guy's crushing it. And now he gets to call the big stage Yankee games in the top market in the country.
Man, thank you first and foremost. Thank you. One piece of advice, 500% all the time. Don't ever put your head on your pillow and think what if or have any regret. And there's a lot of noise out there for sure in this social media age, and it's a cesspool. let's call it what it is for sure. I would say in order to not listen to the people that don't matter, never look for the criticism from someone you'd never take advice from. But overall, 500% every time. 100%, that's yesterday. 500% all the time. It takes discipline. and obviously time management. But if you blend the two together and you give it your all, you're going to feel good about yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're doing it right, man. That's a good call too, because it is.
And by the way, I just
cesspool.
want people. I don't know Justin's story like you do.
Yeah.
But can we also just have people understand that you don't start as like the Yankees play-by-play guy, okay? Because there's kids that come up to me that have seen this show and seen me on Fox, and they say, man, you start, oh, how do I get a job like yours? I'm like, well, you got to go to like some little town. And now I was obviously fortunate because I played. And
Yeah.
I'm a different animal than like normal
Justin.
play-by-play guys.
Yes.
But like you got to go to, I don't know, Wichita Falls, Kansas, and do the weather, cat racing, or whatever it is, and get a tape, and then work your way up. You got to work in the minor leagues. Like I had a whole conversation with Adam Amin on Saturday about him working for the Somerset Patriots. And I met some guy that knew you. I don't know his name. Was the GM?
AJ, you want to know what's cool?
I worked for.
You want to know what's cool?
I know he knew you.
You don't know what's cool? Yeah. I mean, I packed my air mattress in my Nissan Xterra driving to Knoxville, Tennessee, and Mobile, Alabama to call minor league baseball for about 5-6 years. And what was really cool in the Southern League then, you had myself, you had Joe Davis cutting our teeth with the Mobile Bay Bears and the Montgomery Biscuits, Tommy Thrall, who's the Reds voice now. There are others there. Alex Cohen, who's crushing it on Cubs TV. We're all in the Southern League at the same time, and if I'm forgetting someone right on the spot, I apologize. But yeah, Adam was doing his thing. Scott was doing his thing, and what's interesting is like at least for me, like with a guy like Joe Davis, like I met him. We started. It was right at the start where like strangers wouldn't hesitate through like Facebook to like reach out to someone that was working toward the same goal and say, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I think you do really, really solid work. You want to listen, can you listen to my stuff and offer a tip or something like that? So you're like all in the grind together. It was really, really fun.
Hundreds, if not thousands of combos that's like my thing. I'm like, I'm not rich, but I can give time. And so on the road, phone calls with people that reach out. And I'm sure Justin's done a million of that. We all do it. That's like our thing. You're like, all right, I'm going to give you everything you need to know. I try and be a straight shooter now too, and tell them about the politics and all that in the offices. But anyway, we can go all day
how long
that.
was Don Orsillo in Pawtucket? He was there for like 10 years before he got called up to these dudes grind.
There's a lot.
Grind.
Matt Vasgersian, who
Kratz thinks he's a grinder. These dudes really grind.
Yeah, Matty B, he was 10 years or something, a long time in the minor leagues. And he was like, a lot of people get to a point where they're like, I think I'm going to move on. And most do, right? Most do, because there's only X amount of jobs, but it's crazy. But I totally agree. I got crushed all the time from people on play-by-play saying, I want you to sound like this. And I'm like, well, that's cool. The person you want me to sound like is 78 years old, and I'm 32, and I don't give a crap.
You're 32?
Right. I'm 37 now. Anyway, Justin, good talking to you, dude. Keep crushing it out there. Love the combo here, and we look forward to hearing you again tonight.
Thank you so much. Great joining you guys. Have a good one.
You too. Give Justin a follow. Check him out. He's all over Yankees coverage, radio, Yes Network, the whole deal. That was fun. Hey, for the card collectors out there, you need to know about Arena Club. You can check out our showrooms. We've all got cards in there. You can buy, you can sell, you can trade, and you can rip packs. They're called slab packs, Kratz. And then what happens if you don't like what you pulled?
You get an instant offer. But before you get that instant offer, you can show your showroom around, kind of like when I used to put the cards in the sleeves and my buddies would come over and show them. Now, bang, show them on the phone. Instant offers right there if I need it.
Yep, that instant offer is for the estimated fair market value. Accept it on the spot. Acquire the best value for your money with Slab Packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, grading, or ripping packs, Arena Club is the safest, most trusted in the game. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul and use code FOUL. That's arenaclub.com/foul, code FOUL. All right, Kratz, this is all you for 2 minutes. Read the tweet and react.
Oh, John Clark, NBCS, Bryce Harper shaved his head trying to turn around his season, just like Nick Sirianni did earlier in the Eagles' eventual Super Bowl season. But it didn't work. Bryce Harper is batting .232, and the Phillies tonight were just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They only managed just 2 runs in the loss to the second hottest team in baseball, now the hottest team in baseball, Cardinals. So, you know what? Didn't work. But you know what? You know what Nick Swisher's dad always said, and I'm forgetting Nick Swisher's dad's name, but he would say, Steve, thank you. He would say, if you look good, you play good. If you feel good, you play good. Go get a haircut if you don't have any hits. Believe me, look at me. I tried it. No hits. I tried it all. But the haircut, Bryce can shave his head, and then 2 days later, he comes back in with a faux hawk. The man grows hair like AJ grows dollar bills on his trees.
AJ tells me I suck at this all the time, and then I try to get a haircut in Orlando. I just can't. It's the most exclusive
It's all about who you know,
place
Scott. It's all about who you know
in the world.
For the show.
Yeah, but anyway, the Phillies are fine. It's one of those teams where
it's still not even June. We're still, 35 games in? We're not even at 40 games yet.
we're
We're around
about the
40.
quarter
About
pull.
40, yeah.
Yeah.
But Bryce Harper's going to be fine. He's going to get hot. He's going to go on like a 3-week tear where he hits like 700 and hits like homers in 3 weeks. So everyone's going to be like, wait, he's right back where he is.
Phillies need to fix the bullpen. In the Weeds catcher edition, let's start with Pirates catcher Henry Davis in yesterday's game getting roasted by Ron Darling for setting up behind the plate. It led to, who was it, Acuña scoring the run? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Well, we're about to see. Okay. And it was a huge run in the game. We're looking at it now. What is that? This is when Ron was talking about him. Yeah, and they're just focusing on him. But obviously led to the Mets taking a lead. Pirates caught back up. Mets walk it off. But anyway, it was a huge run at the time of the game. And Ron's like, are you kidding me? There are so many reasons why setting up where you did are wrong, including obviously you're letting him come in and you have to reach over. Also the ball getting to you quicker if you're in front. And that's all I'm going to say. The rest is you guys. You guys caught.
All right. I'm going to let Kratz go first on this one because he finished after I was done. So I'm going to let Kratz go first and then I'll go.
And I'm going to go back to 2014, I think, when they eliminated the collisions at the plate. Everybody thought it was just going to be, we got to do this. We got to try this. You got to put one knee down. You got to do this. You got to set up. I remember practicing that exact thing that he did right there in practice for like 6 throws. And I was sitting there like, what are we doing? What base do you ever teach? When do you ever teach the third baseman or the second baseman who tag people all the time to stand in foul territory if you're the, pun intended, if you are the third baseman, you would straddle the bag and you would tag them, or you would get to the front of the base to be able to put the tag down right at the base. Like the ball, I get the idea that the ball is always going to travel faster than you catching it and swipe tagging. But the fact that you have to allow a path does not mean you have to allow the entire path of home plate. So after we did this in 2014, we were like, just go back to doing what you were doing. Just don't stand in front of home plate until you have the ball. Then get in front of home plate.
Here's my thing. Thank you, Buster Posey, for this rule. This is what they're taught. That's it. Ron Darling can say whatever he wants about this and that and blah, blah, blah. But this is what guys are taught, like Kratz said. They are taught to get the heck out of the way, and that is the problem. They are afraid of just what Kratz said, getting in the way. And we practiced it too in 2014. I remember I was with the Red Sox, and we had hour after hour on how to block the plate. I'm like, can't we just block the plate like we used to? I never got hurt blocking the plate. Like, I don't understand. It was fun. It was part of the game. And it all changed. But this is what they're taught. This is how they're taught to do it. They're taught to give the runner lane And Tyler Flowers, who I played with, and he was kind of the guy who started the one knee and the whole way they catch now. But he would go, if the line was here, he would always go behind the plate and try to catch the ball and go forward. And I was like, dude, it just makes it easier for the runner and the guy sliding. You're trying to catch the ball behind him. And he's like, yeah, but this is the way I know I'm not blocking the lane. But I'm like this, if you move to this side of the plate and then you have to reach, like it doesn't make, like if he catches it and goes forward, he's probably going to be out, but he catches it and then he has to reach because they're afraid of contact. This is what they're taught. This isn't anything on Henry Davis. This is how he's taught to catch now. This is the way they teach it. Right or wrong, it's the way they teach it. And he did everything right except get the tag down quick enough. I know this. If he's standing on top of the plate.
I haven't heard back from Jordan yet. Jordan Kama is what we call him, but Kamendena is the catching coach from the Pirates. I haven't heard back from him, but I reached out to somebody else, and they're not 100%. They didn't see Jordan teaching this. So I don't know if this was just a Henry Davis thing. Another thing that people need to understand, I don't think this was this situation, but sometimes you get lost when you're at home plate. Sometimes the play doesn't develop the way you think, and your footwork gets off, and like you didn't have a chance to look back down at home plate to make sure you're at the right place. So this is something that guys practice. To be in the situation where he was at, it wasn't like he was moving backwards for a long hop and then going to get it. He was set up there, and it essentially cost him the game. Not essentially, it did.
Yeah, huge moment in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Listen, Kama or whatever can say that he doesn't teach that, but they teach that you have to get off a home plate. You can't, like, I would have just stood there and I would have taken the throw and gotten hit and tried to tag him, right? Or, I would have tried to catch it and have my momentum going towards the runner, but everyone's so taught to avoid contact now.
I saw Darno get run over, I think it was last night. And they had to remind on the broadcast, hey, you're actually still allowed to make contact. Yeah. You just don't see it very often. Yeah. I know. It's crazy. This is
but everyone's taught from Little League up that you can't touch the catcher, you can't touch the second baseman, so nobody thinks about doing it.
A lot of changes in today's game.
Some people say for the better.
Yeah, but in that case, I think you got to set up somewhere else.
Yeah, the problem is he's got to set up in front of the plate. Because that throw is perfect.
Money.
I mean, he's got to be in front of the plate. I don't know why in the heck he was back there. I guess maybe it took a step back for the hop. It's the only thing I can think of.
He's way too far. I mean,
he's way too far back.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
If he didn't know he was that far back, he wouldn't have reached out forward. He would have just kneed down and swiped like you normally would. But here's my thing about the collision at the plate. When I was on that 20-person call, I didn't know all of who was on that call about changing the rule or not changing the rule. It was all big league catchers, and I was actually a big league catcher at the time. And I said, my argument with this is, and this is kind of where Henry Davis is at in his career, he has an opportunity to help his team. He's not hitting the ball real well. I got 150 to 200 at-bats in a big league season. So that's not as many opportunities as a Buster Posey, A.J. Pierzynski, Yadier Molina gets. They get 550 at-bats a season to help their team. Henry Davis had a chance to essentially, defensive-wise, hit a home run right there and take a run off the board. And my view of the play was, if I'm willing to put myself at risk, I should be allowed to block the plate and not take that away from me. So essentially, you catered the game to superstars. But it's refreshing for me to hear AJ, who was a superstar, say, I still wanted that in the game.
What call were you talking about? I wasn't on a call. I wish I would have been on a call, because I would have told Buster Posey the same thing I told Jeb Berry when he was on here. This is not the game that we should be doing. This is not the rule we should be changing. If he doesn't put himself in a bad position, then he doesn't get hurt. He put himself in a bad position. It's simple. The first thing I was taught is when I got to the big leagues, Tom Prince, who had been run over 1,000,000 times, and he was an older guy. He goes, first thing you do, get your feet out of the ground. That's how you get hurt. And that's what happened to Buster Posey. He was in a bad position. Now, did the Cousins guy veer a little bit? But that's what he was taught. He's like, his leg is in the way. I'm going to get him. And that's the only way I can score. I knew, there were times where it was coming. I'm like, I'm going to get crushed right here. but I'm going to go flying. I'm going to look crazy, but I'm going to catch the ball and he's going to be out.
Yep.
And that was my whole thing. Like, get my feet out of the ground and go flying.
Mm-hmm. It's a good combo, but it leads now to moments like this, which cost the Pirates the game. We're swinging back with Ken Rosenthal. Let's bring some inside scoop. Sometimes we get the asks for lightweight hoodies, and I'm like, they exist. They're awesome at Rowback.
Without a doubt. Comfort, lightweight, durability. I wear these all the time. The color schemes are absolutely phenomenal.
Go check it out. You can use the code FOUL on rowback.com for 20% off your first purchase. That's FOUL on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all shorts, hoodies, polos, and more. Go check out Rowback. Check out Moises Ballesteros. The dude can rake. He's a catcher. I don't know how much catching he'll do because the Cubs have Amaya and Carson Kelly, but they just called him up. Ian Happ to the shelf. They've had Seiya Suzuki playing more in the outfield because Happ's been hurt for, 4 or 5 days now, and Justin Turner's not hitting. So you're the Cubs. It's getting close. It's time to keep hitting full throttle with the offense, and here's what J.J. Cooper, our Baseball America hot sheet host, had to say about Moises.
Man, what a fun week to be a Cubs fan. We saw Cade Horton make his big league debut this past weekend. Now Moises Ballesteros is coming up. This is the thing that stands out about this Cubs club. They're not only first in the NL Central right now, but they have more big league ready or right on the cusp of big league ready prospects than almost anyone. Ballesteros, a key member of that, dude just hits. He's hit everywhere he's ever gone. There's really not a whole lot of questions about whether this guy has a big league bat. Ballesteros has really above average hitting ability. The question's always been, he's a bigger dude to be a catcher. Is the defense big league ready? Looks like right now that's not really the concern. They want him to hit. They want him to DH. Yes, he can catch if they need it to. But for now, just let Moises Ballesteros hit. He was hitting 368 in AAA. Dude can hit. That's not going to be a big problem for him.
Just if you're the Cubs, make sure you don't say throw your glove away. Apparently that's not good.
Their catchings have been good, though.
No, I know.
So that's why this is kind of a little bit of a weird call-up.
No, it's
because they're just going to DH him.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but still, their catchers have been really. Kelly and Amaya have been good.
Yeah, he might not catch at all right now.
He's going Kyle Schwarber route.
This is saying Justin Turner's not hitting. We're putting you at DH because we want to keep thriving offensively. Hot Sheets the show with JJ Cooper on it. We cover prospects. But yeah, this guy has question marks about his catching ability. Spot for him. Like, let's just plug him in and see if he can rake at the big league level because he is torching minor league pitch. Let's hit the inside scoop with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Ken, were you like me this morning when you saw Paul Skenes announce that he's going to pitch in the World Baseball Classic and actually react to this differently than almost any other player that's announced this because of where he's at as a player, contract, pitcher, etc.? What was your reaction?
I was a little bit surprised only because he's a young pitcher. Of course, we're all worried about him staying healthy, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are more worried than anyone about him staying healthy. But it seems to me this is Skenes' choice, as it should be. It should be a player's choice whether to participate in the World Baseball Classic. The question I have now is how he will be used. I was joking with someone this morning. Okay, it'll be 10 pitches his first outing, 6 days down, then maybe 20 pitches his next outing. Of course, that's not the way Mark DeRosa with Team USA is going to want it to be. That is not the way Skenes will intend it to be, but we've seen franchises, all of them for that matter, be completely overprotective of their pitching in the WBC. I get it. It gets a little excessive, though.
Ken, what if they trade him this offseason because he has 4 years of, before free agency? Do you think he still plays then? More so, I want to know about a trade and possibility of like setting a groundbreaking, earth-shattering trade that could propel the the Pirates to victory in 5 years, which is the next GM's job.
Well, it's been what, 6 years under this regime? We're going to wait another 5.
Oh, right.
If I were a Pirates fan and that trade happened, that would be pretty much it for me. In fact, I would be not surprised if Pirates fans already are saying this is it for me. But I don't expect them to entertain offers for Paul Skenes this offseason or any time in the near future. It's an interesting thing to think about because obviously they're not going to sign him long term, but they've still got him at a relatively cheap rate for the next couple of years, and the pre-ARB years and then the ARB years. So no, I don't think that's going to happen.
Ken, you're talking about fans giving up. The Rockies, they've just fired their manager, Bud Black. And we had this conversation last week, whether once one goes and they all start going. Here's number 2 already during the season. We also talked about it a little bit on Saturday before the game that we did together. But what's happening in Colorado? We also talked about it yesterday with one of their reporters. Like, what's next? I mean, the owner's going to stay. Is he going to get a new GM? Is he going to, it's like, what's the direction in Colorado?
AJ, that's a question that no one in the industry can seem to answer because they operate on their own planet. And I've often said this, they're in a parallel universe from the rest of the industry. They do their thing, and no matter what else is happening in the rest of the industry, they're going to continue doing their own thing. They're insular. They hire from within. They rarely go outside. Even this hire is from within, though it's a smart hire because Warren Schaefer was in their minor league system as a coach and manager for 10 years. He knows a lot of these guys that are up in the big leagues right now. But that's been their nature over the years. And I don't know what the answer is there other than a new owner. But if the new owner, or the current owner, I should say, wants to actually make some substantial changes, yes, he would bring in a young hotshot GM from the outside and try to figure out how the rest of baseball is doing it and maybe try to do it himself.
Is there ever a case where Major League Baseball looks into their actual effort to be competitive? Because it's not necessarily about the spending. They have spent some, but it's something to look into about competitiveness, because this is why we have the CBA. So we follow rules, but we're also a competitive league.
Erik, a couple of ways to answer that. We've seen the union over the years file grievances against teams that aren't spending. The Rockies were not one of them. As you mentioned, they will spend from time to time. The commissioner cannot legislate against poor management. Now, MLB will step in the cases of financial mismanagement. We saw that with the McCourts. They effectively forced McCourt out, forced him to sell. But if MLB was going to kick out owners for not managing their teams correctly, I don't know, how many would we be talking about? 5, 10, 15? They can't do that. These owners are entitled to operate their franchises as they see fit, as long as there are not financial things going on that are improper.
All right, let's go to the Mets starting pitching. Is this a long enough history with David Stearns to say this guy just finds pitching and he doesn't have to spend a ton of money on it?
Good question, Erik. It's 2 years with the Mets for sure, where this has been a successful strategy. They've done it with Holmes and Canning. This year, we haven't seen Montas yet, of course, so that has not been a success. But last year with Minaya and Severino, for sure, they have been successful under Stearns doing this. Part of that is not just due to their ability to identify the right pitchers, but also to enhance their abilities once they get to the Mets. The Mets have been really good at this, making people better. Griffin Canning is exhibit A right now. So I don't know that I would say for sure David Stearns has it figured out. I don't believe David Stearns would tell you he has it figured out, but his clear preference is not to go big on starting pitching. And when I say big, I mean 3 or 4 years beyond that in a term, and then, of course, huge money. They've done that to a degree, huge money with Verlander and Scherzer, but Stearns' way is different than that, ultimately. And we'll see if it can be a year after year thing. To me, you're taking a chance if you do it that way, and occasionally you have to maybe go into the market and get, I don't know, the best pitcher available. But they're succeeding with this, and they also have prospects coming. So credit to the Mets and credit to Stearns for developing pitching in a way that other teams are not, doing it at a seemingly reasonable price and keeping their payroll in order from that perspective. The Mets payroll is not in order from other perspectives.
Ken, we were there in Queens on Saturday night when the Mets played the Cubs, and we discussed the Mets starting pitching. I know you're talking about Montas, if he ever comes back, and Minaya and all these guys. But the one thing, and David Stearns, how he does this with the bullpen, but can they sustain this? Because they have one of the worst innings per start in the National League. Can they maintain this? And can their bullpen survive having to cover almost 4 innings per game?
That's a good question. And certainly we're going to find out. And I'm not totally convinced about this rotation just yet anyway. Again, we have not seen Montas yet. We have not seen Minaya this year, though Minaya last year certainly in the second half proved a point. Clay Holmes, converting from the bullpen to the rotation, how many innings is he going to give you? Kodai Senga, is he going to stay healthy all season? Are McGill and Peterson and Canning going to keep pitching at a high level even in shorter bursts? So ultimately, they might need a starter at the deadline, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. They've got some youngsters, Brandon Sproat being chief among them, who could come up and give them something. But at some point, AJ, you're right. This might reach a tipping point where they need more innings from their rotation. I will give you a name, and I'm not saying this guy is going to be traded because I think his team wants to contend, but the equivalent of a Zach Eflin or a Nathan Eovaldi, even at a higher level. I don't expect either of those guys necessarily to move, but they're both stable innings type guys. And beyond that, they're quality major league pitchers. So yeah, the Mets probably could use someone like that and might ultimately go for someone like that.
I want to talk about the best offense in the National League right now, the Chicago Cubs, or the most runs, whether it's best offense or not. An area that they're getting a lot of production from is not an area that many, if any, other teams get production from, and it's catching. Did they know this coming in, or was this just a pleasant surprise that they came up with here partway through the season?
There is no way they knew that Carson Kelly would hit something like Aaron Judge. They could not have known that. Carson Kelly did make some swing changes, and there were people who believed that he was going to come on. He has also improved his plate discipline. He seemingly has total control of the strike zone. They could not have known that. They could have expected progress from Miguel Amaya, who's a talented guy, but their catching, you're absolutely right, Erik, has been a huge surprise. Last I checked, I believe I checked this last night, they're second in OPS at catcher only to the Mariners, and the Mariners, of course, have Cal Raleigh going off and hitting a lot of home runs. So that has been a huge surprise for them. Their bottom of the order in general has been a massive turnaround. We've seen Armstrong come on. We've seen Dansby Swanson now start to get hot. So top to bottom, they're in a pretty good spot. And from that perspective, they're doing pretty well. Guys, I got to jump.
Okay, it's big. Go, Ken.
See you guys.
We'll talk soon. Thanks, Ken.
Of course, Ken's got to go right when I was going to ask him the most important question.
Well, ask me.
No, he did his best post-game interview of all time on Saturday.
Oh, the Dansby.
Yeah, and now he's got to go. It's weird how that always works out with Ken. Who was more important, Ken? That's what I want to know. If it was fair territory, he wouldn't have left.
If it's a good story, I'm in.
Who do we think was calling Ken?
Here's my thing. Ken gets calls 24/7, okay? So I often see him look down. Someone's calling or texting him, and he's like, in his head, bug off. I'm finishing my FT segment. Think about it.
The trade deadline.
You're on almost every day here. How often does Ken leave mid-show?
At least once.
A few times a year? Maybe 2 or 3 times a year?
Not as many as Kratz. Kratz leaves more mid-show than I think Ken does.
Well, Kratz has important high school coaching to do sometimes. And he is an everyday guy. So I do give him credit.
Diving into the youth. It's kind of like you leaving on Thursdays, AJ, is kind of like me playing in games. You know what? I might be starting, but you're not going to see me in the 7th. You might be here kind of every day, but we're not going to see you many Fridays.
I know something that it's not because it was just announced. The Royals signed Rich Hill to a minor league contract. Hey, he's trying. I give him credit.
He's trying, but
How
I mean,
old
come
is
on.
Rich?
He's like 50 years old. How old is he? 46?
45.
I mean,
He's
come
45.
on. Like, I don't know. I mean, Rich Hill's a nice fella, but I mean, come on, dude. Like, at some point, like, it's time.
Nice fellas get contracts.
I mean, I think you probably keep getting these minor league deals, but I mean, geez, I don't know.
AAA.
As Adam Lynn would
Why
say,
not AAA?
as Adam Lynn would say, he's got a nice curveball.
He does.
I mean, but his numbers don't equate. His numbers just don't equate to just. It's not like he's. I don't know. Whatever.
You don't have to be great. There's a lot of 5 ERAs in baseball that still
Apparently.
pitch for a little bit. Last year, which was the 20th year that he has played Major League Baseball, he made 4 appearances and gave up, I think 1 run? 2 earned runs, 3 2/3. So it doesn't really count, obviously. He barely pitched for Boston, but still kicking.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's fun to follow. I'm rooting for him.
I mean, it's a great story. I mean, he's trying to become Jamie Moyer and just keep pitching until there's no reason to pitch anymore. But, I mean, I don't know. At some point, listen, it's not – the juice ain't worth the squeeze. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. One other bit of news before we step aside for a sec. Oswaldo Cabrera has a fractured left ankle, so he's going to miss a good chunk of time. DJ LeMahieu called back up. Remember him?
Well, he's got to have to make it – he's going to have to get there eventually. He's been on rehab for 6 months now.
Yeah. DJ's 36. See if he's got something left. This could be his last chance too. Does he still have another year after this on the contract, or this is it?
I think so, because it was a longer contract than what they needed. It was just spreading out that $90 million.
One more after this.
I want people to remember LeMahieu more than just the end of his career here. Is that dude?
I agree.
He could hit.
DJ LeMahieu could hit, and he could clutch hit. A lot of clutch knocks from what I remember without going in the weeds right now on games. Some really timely playoff hits, including 2017? No. When was he?
2019. The one year on the Yankees, he was like the only one that could hit.
Yeah.
I don't know what year that was. There was like that one year where he was the only one that could hit.
2019. He had
COVID,
a big
I was there. I watched it.
Oh, well, COVID,
AJ went out.
But that was
Judge went out. It was a joke. We joked that he gave himself COVID so he didn't have to go to spring training 2.0. So he sat out, and by the first game, he was already there. He was ready to go. And it was every fastball was a rocket to right. Every breaking ball changeup was a dinger to left. It was like, how do you even pitch to this guy? He was the machine.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Kratz, because he's trying to keep kicking here at the end of his career. It hasn't worked out. He's obviously gotten some injuries, body breaking down. But 2019, he was almost a 6-win player, 327, 375 on base, 518 slug. 2020 is 50 games, but 364 batting average, 421 on base, 590 slug, OPS above 1,000. He had some good years. Hit 348 for the Rockies in 2016. He was a stud that season too. So anyway, we'll see what DJ LeMahieu looks like.
I can say this real quick. Playing with him that year, he was going into, he's going to be a free agent. It was a 2-year deal. He had an offer from a team that you would be very surprised, offered him the same deal. And he said he loved playing for the Yankees so much, it would be hard for him to find a deal that he would have really liked going to another team. And he was like the stark difference. He was night and day difference between Colorado and New York. And that Colorado team, they had some dudes. They made the playoffs and everything. He's like, it wasn't about the success. It was about what was put around you to help you be the best player.
We'll be right back. Ken Rosenthal is going to jump back on.
Is he going to break his news?
I hope so. BetMGM locks after we tell you about the free game of the day, Angels and Padres. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about that game, but Robert Suarez has been money this year. He unraveled, including a Taylor Ward go-ahead grand slam. I turned that one off. Rare for me, but I was up the day before 4 a.m. flight, or 4 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight. So I was like, this game's over. It wasn't. Free game of the day on the BetMGM app, live streaming available to all customers on BetMGM who are logged in and have funded accounts. Locks yesterday, Kratz banger. You got the Diamondbacks pulling off a close win. And for me, Milwaukee and Cleveland, 5-0 Cleveland. Not how I thought it would look. But
Producer
also,
lady got mine backwards.
Oh, that keeps happening.
Colin Ray was over and Freddie Peralta was under.
That's weird. I have to go
She
back.
got it backwards.
Good thing on YouTube.
No.
I can rewind. No, she did not. And Pap, you got a win, but not a win on your bet. Texas won by 1 run, not 3. Money bags. Pap's leading the pack for us 4. Kratz has 665 plus 1 because he's scared of scary numbers. Kratz, you want to go?
Yeah, I'm taking an over and an under. But I got to read it because I forget every time I try to look at it. It is the Milwaukee-Cleveland under was at 9, and I parlayed that with the over in the Royals-Houston game. Bullpen's got a little banged up, got a little used, and that's coming out at plus 256.
Good for you. I like it. We have time for, is yours a long one?
Mine's quick, short, and easy today.
Oh, nice. What do you got?
Easy.
Plus 100, Reds run line against the White Sox.
You want to double it up?
No, I'm going 1,000.
1,000? Okay.
So I'm baby stepping it.
Baby
Trying to
stepping
get back to
back.
respect. Because here's the thing. If I go double, then I'm down like 6,000. How am I ever going to get back?
It gets tough.
Yeah.
It gets tough.
I mean, I can just keep doubling it every day. And then, but no, I'm just going 1,000. Reds,
That's a good pick.
run line. Plus 100
I like
at home in the small park. Abbott's been pitching well.
Yep.
White Sox coming off a long travel off day yesterday. They're tired.
And they're still the White Sox. This
I mean-
year's White Sox is a team you should still pick on. I feel like the Rockies are getting all of the attention. The Rockies are, the pretty popular
You're jealous.
kid at school. Yeah. They're like, the Rockies get all the attention. They fire their manager. They are on pace for the worst record ever. Anyway, we might have Ken back. All right, we're back. Let's talk Cardinals for a few minutes. I want to make sure that we're giving attention to the right places. This team won again yesterday. They took down a Philadelphia Phillies club by a run with some late offense and now have won 9 games in a row. Kratz, what did you think of the performance there for the Cards against the team you get to watch the most?
I mean, it's the same MO. I mean, I should have taken the first 5 with the Phillies again, taking the Cardinals' first 5 yesterday. It's a hot team. It's a hot team that's getting big swings in big spots, and the Phillies have a tough time with the curveball. They have a tough time with the curveball, but they also have a tough time facing starting pitching. The Phillies will be fine. The Cardinals have surprised me so much. It's almost like old school baseball. Like, don't strike out, don't swing at balls. It's like, it'll never work. You got to hit homers. Well, showed they had a nice little win last night.
Yeah, Bob Nightingale said, weren't this Cardinals team or weren't the St. Louis Cardinals supposed to be rebuilding this year?
They never said that we were rebuilding.
I
They just
agree.
said they never said they were rebuilding.
Yeah.
They just
They
said
didn't
they
even
were
say
kind
that.
of retooling, but they just didn't spend money. It wasn't that they never said they were rebuilding. They just said they're kind of reevaluating with Chaim Bloom taking over for John Mozeliak. But they never said rebuilding. They just basically said, we're not going to go out and spend a lot of money.
Rebuilding would be trading away Wilson Contreras, Sonny Gray, go down the line. Maybe even some guys that are
Arenado. I mean, they tried to move Arenado.
Of course. Yeah. Helsley.
Helsley.
They had guys to move.
I mean, Michaelis. They could probably get someone. Fetty. There's some names they have that could probably.
They tried to move guys. That, to me, that's a retool, reboot, rebuild, whatever. They didn't get it. So to me, you can't say they weren't trying to rebuild, but I guess all those decisions, those guys aren't getting in the way of people that they want to play. Look what Herrera's doing. He went on the IL. He's hit another dinger last night. Like, if they had Wilson Contreras behind the dish, he wouldn't be getting his opportunity. Pages is one of the big leaders. So you have 2 dudes behind the plate that are not being blocked by Wilson Contreras. I don't know that Nolan Arenado is blocking anybody other than, they're playing guys in different spots. Either Nolan Gorman or Brendan Donovan, somebody, he's blocking some spots. But if you're getting at bats for guys, it's not necessarily a rebuild where you just broke everything down. But they tried to do that in the offseason. They tried to trade Sonny Gray. He said no. They tried to trade Nolan Arenado? He said, not yet. And they probably asked Wilson, but he said, nah, I'd rather play first.
Can we finish with this? I'm going to mention the Buster Olney tweet just because it's another component of the team that's really working for them right now. We talked about a few components yesterday. Starting pitching giving length, defense playing well, bullpen nails lately. They're third in on-base percentage in Major League Baseball. Brendan Donovan's having a banger year. He's on base over 37% of the time. Same with Lars Nootbaar. Victor Scott's getting on board, and he's annoying to deal with once he's on base because he's fast as lightning. Nolan Arenado's on base, obviously 35% of the time.
But I thought Brant Brown didn't know what he was doing.
Who said that?
The Mariners.
Oh,
The Mariners.
right. That's right.
The Mariners about this time last year.
New hitting coach, who dis?
Yep. New phone, who dis? Oh.
It's working. It's working.
It's all about personnel. It's all about finding the right hitting coach for your personnel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. That's what it boils down to.
That's why some teams have different approaches with hitting coaches, right? 2 or 3 guys nowadays, because like you said, sometimes one guy just totally doesn't vibe, and it's like, no offense, but this is not for me.
Yeah.
Good for the Cards. Fun story.
That's
why the Cubs
Can they stay in it, though?
We'll see, but they'll add if they're in this spot at the deadline, and that's why the Cubs are
like I said, was it yesterday? Mozeliak doesn't want to go out having a bad season. He would much rather go out having a good season.
He's loving this.
He's loving this. He's basically giving the middle finger to everybody that said he sucked. He's like, oh, really? Look at how we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they maintain this, then he really can give some middle fingers.
Cubs called up one of their top hitting prospects just now. They're looking behind them, seeing the Cardinals. They know. All right, FT fam, we'll be right back for Slap Hands. BetMGM locks. I know it's steeper than I thought it would be because it keeps moving, but I'm still going Yankees money line. This is the steepest I'll probably go all season on a minus 140. It's up to in the BetMGM app, but I've got Max Fried topping Brian Wu. I've got the Yankees offense thriving in Seattle. They are unfazed by the slanty batting eye or whatever, the curved batting eye that bothers certain people. It's not bothering the Mariners that much this year. Their offense is actually fine right now. They're raking too. They've lost how many, though, now? 4 in a row? They got swept by the Blue Jays over the weekend. Mm-hmm. They lost to the Yankees last night. I've got the Yankees taking them again tonight. I think it could be close, so I'm just rolling with money line. I did my pick a little bit last minute today, so I'm like, let me just try and pick something that I'm feeling pretty safe with, and it's minus 140. So there are your locks for tonight. Kratz is the bold one this evening, and AJ and me are keeping it simple. If you feel like you've got a strong lineup of bets, we've got your back, or at BetMGM does. With an MLB parlay boost token, you can activate that token for any MLB parlay and get yourself a bigger payout if your parlay wins. The action is on deck at BetMGM. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And actually, bring us back here for a minute. I'll do this now since we'll probably be a little tight when we do slap hands. Go ahead, Kratz. Is that old school Padres? I mean, all the teams have that version of hat.
No, that was like a 4th of July or Memorial Day hat.
Who you got? Kratz hats?
Dodgers?
Blue?
Royals?
Blue Jays.
Jays. The what is that, digital camo? Yeah, it's a digital camo. I'm going to say it was Memorial Day hat because I wasn't on the team for July 4th or anything else, so I'm assuming it was a Memorial Day hat.
The Blue Jays are who we thought they were right now. They're 20-20. They had a nice weekend.
Mid.
They're 500.
They got to swing. They got to swing. They got to swing. You got to swing it.
You heard Whit yesterday. He wasn't worried. I'm worried about the
That's
power.
what they've been for years, though.
Since the park changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of what they've been. They can pitch really good, but they don't hit. And even when they did get to the playoffs, they can pitch really well, and they don't hit.
Right.
Where they score? No runs against the Twins that year? 1 run? 2 games?
Yeah, Red Sox.
Very Oriole-esque of them.
True. Red Sox and Yankees are better teams, have better offenses. The Orioles are 15-24. The Rays are 18-22, but they've played a ton of home games. I don't know if that's going to matter.
That's the way they did it.
I know, but they're going to be on the road for most of the summer.
That's going to be tough.
night last night was probably Padres Angels because of how wild it got late, and also
No, I would say Mets Pirates with Skenes on the mound in
Mets
New York.
Pirates was Soto
entering
versus
it, but I'm
Skenes.
saying that entering the night. Then when you watch the games,
It was still a great game. The Mets got a walk-off.
it was a great game. Okay, but we
But
already talked
before
about
we
it.
dig into whatever you're going to say, I have a question for Kratz. We just show in the commercials, we have like these little clips of games that are run.
Mhm.
And if you saw that, it was a throw home and Henry Davis kind of knocked it down. My question for Kratz is if there was no play at the plate, Kratz, would you catch the ball because dudes would throw it? Or like I would just let it go. And I'd just be like, I'm not getting that ball. Well,
It's
'cause I'm walking off
seriously
the field.
the situation.
I would never
When-
I would just let it go. Be like, oh, well, heads up.
When I knew it was an automatic, like we're not getting them. There was times it would piss me off so much, I would just let it go. I hope it caught somebody's ankle.
See?
I know they're not
See?
going to feel it because they're celebrating. I hope it caught somebody's ankle.
See? Like there are times where you're just pissed and you're just like, especially if it was like coming from right field and the team was coming out of this dugout or the other dugout, you just be like, just let it go. See what happens.
And you have to have self-awareness if you're a player. Make sure you don't get smoked by a baseball.
Most of them are paying attention.
Still an active
They ain't
play.
paying attention.
Okay,
But I'm just saying, like, unless there was a chance, I would try and catch it.
Sure.
But there were so many times where I'd just be like, "Ole, let's see where it goes." Watch it pinball around back there.
On a sac fly, most of the time, it's deep enough. You're like, okay, the outfielder's going to throw, but it's stupid.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, Robert Suarez had a 0.51 ERA, 15 saves. He walked people. He had 4 consecutive walks. Gave up 5 runs. Padres will be fine. They had a 5-3 lead in the 9th. Angels, I feel good for them. You know, they needed something like this. They won 9-5.
They need a day game on a getaway day. That's what they need.
They do. You know what? And they had good karma because Logan O'Hoppy's back down to 2-knee catching. Which I think
You mean no 2-foot catching?
2-foot catching. Right, no knee.
He's on 2 feet.
No knee. Yeah.
Yes.
No 1 knee.
Him and Higgy might be the last 2.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're going to ask him when we bring him on in a couple weeks.
Good ankle flexion.